wasn't COVID. I checked for COVID. It was just like being kind of run down. Sicknesses go around at work.
Facebook has accepted the stream.
Ooh, okay.
Isn't that nice?
That is nice. Okay, after a little bit there.
All right, so let's see here. We're very close to going on the air. I will send you the link momentarily. Okay, all 3 platforms have accepted it. I'm going to get you the Facebook link. They won't give you the link until you actually do the handshake. So they're in the process of giving me the link. Okay, good. We got that. Now I'm gonna get this. John, what do I do? Send it to you and you send it to him?
Wait.
I can see you on Facebook.
Ah, great. Okay.
That was quick.
That's good. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
All right, so I guess let me leave a test comment, make sure the comments are working.
Yeah. I see some text in there. Is that, yeah, I see text. Okay, great. Okay.
Okay, so there you go. You see, there's your comments. John, look on the other side.
Okay, hey.
You don't have to look there.
Yeah, okay.
All right?
Hi, Facebook.
And then, so everybody now can see welcome to the show, correct?
Hey.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, great. Okay, so
Everything's delayed on my end.
yeah, unfortunately, yeah. All right, now we got to put a timer up
Oh, okay.
so that the audience and you can know how much time is left in the show.
Yeah. So, audience, ignore all this stuff that we've been saying.
Well, Matt uses this to talk to the audience.
Yeah. But wait,
Not
pretend you're not seeing this, and then
the pre-show.
We'll start the show.
Is this so? This is live right now.
Yeah, but we don't
Yeah,
want people to.
but it's
Yeah,
technically
but
not
we're-
the show.
We're technically, yeah. So they don't know. But pretty soon.
We try not to say
All
anything
right,
too
now we're going to put the timer on the screen. There you go.
Oh.
It's the wrong timer.
Yeah, but,
Pardon me while I fix the timer.
oh, okay, yeah. Okay. Just hold on.
There you go. There's the timer. Everything's all set.
There
You
we
ready to go?
Yeah.
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 All right. When it says on the air, you're on the air.
Hey.
Hey, hello,
Hey.
Think Twice Radio.
Yeah.
And welcome to another exciting episode of Smalltalk with Matt and John.
But today we have a guest.
We have Jeremy has
Slater.
spoken from Pearl Jam.
Yeah.
No,
There's an old buddy of
please.
mine. We used to work together at American Color, and we're going to ask him about his computer art, his computer music, and coding and all that great stuff.
Yeah. Hi, Jeremy.
Yeah.
Hi.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Thanks for having me.
yeah. I'm John's nephew, so
Yeah.
I know John not by choice, but yeah, I know
Yeah.
you had the maybe fortunate or unfortunate
Yeah.
coincidence of encountering John in real life.
Because when you saw me when you were younger, all hungover, the night before I was out with this guy.
At the Pink.
At the Pink, yes, at the Pink probably.
Oh, nice.
And I would then come and hungover and like go over to your house and stuff, or
And not even now.
yeah.
Yeah,
Or the
welcome.
Continental.
The Continental, indeed, yes.
Well, yeah,
All
I
those
think
great places.
we had talked earlier with the artist of the Pink, and yeah, it seems like there was another fire too. So it seems like the
Brick Bar.
iconic dive bars are burning
Went
at a
down.
rate.
Yeah.
You know, I never went into Brick Bar ever.
Oh, okay, wow. You're
I don't think. Yeah, I was a Pink Flamingo
cool.
guy.
Good
you know.
for you, because I preferred the Pink, but I was
Yeah, but
I'd go to the Brick Bar.
You did
Yeah.
once in a while.
Once in a while. My first experience there was I was hanging at the Brick Bar with my group of friends, and they went over to the Pink, and I was like, oh, I love this place. And the group of friends I had at the time would never into the pink. It's just a whole different group of friends. I was like, oh, jeez.
Oh, really? It was a similar thing for me in the Brick Bar. I just never.
Yeah.
It was kind of like the preppy hangout, right?
Yes.
Which is kind of
Wasn't it?
Yeah.
I know you're tuning in from Brooklyn, so I guess as someone from Buffalo, I just think of when I think of Brooklyn, I think of hipsters. Is that my own prejudice, or is there some reality to the hipsters per capita in Brooklyn?
Well, yeah. I guess I live in a hipster neighborhood. I moved from what used to be the hipster neighborhood, Williamsburg, and now I live in Bushwick, and it is very hipster out here.
Well, that's the thing is being a hipster. It's always emerging and changing different areas. So once an area becomes hipster, it's no longer for the hipsters because the hipsters are usually the trendsetters.
Williamsburg became really. It just changed a lot. There's a lot of development, a lot of new buildings, and it became very upscale.
Yeah.
It does seem
All the galleries moved out of there.
Whoa.
There used to be tons of art galleries there.
It seems like Allentown is maybe experiencing something similar. It seems like Hurdle is not kind of the new hip spot, whereas Allentown, I think, between these
Oh, really?
these
Yeah.
iconic social venues kind of burning down, it does seem like the terrain shifting within the city. But yeah, so
Did they ever find out what happened with Brick Bar? Was it arson as well, or what happened?
I don't know. I looked at the city's open data portal and looked like the brick or was it the pink or the Brick Bar had failed a inspection like a year previously, and it mentioned that there was some sort of coal chute. So I don't have any insider information, but I think that maybe perhaps it had something to do with the coal chute, if there was some sort of coal.
But the pink, it was definitely an arsonist. It was a guy who did it. It was a specific guy, and they know who did it.
Yeah. And there's actually been many just burnings around the city in general, which I don't know, with our old housing stock, I don't think houses were built to spec, but yeah, unfortunately.
So what's left in Mohawk Place closed, right?
Yeah.
The wrong place closed. Yeah. So Nietzsche's
So where do people go to hear music these days?
I know. Well, all I know is Nietzsche's is the.
Nietzsche's is still there. Yeah.
Now,
Which they just got a new owner, so there's even and I think they're doing renovations, but it's slowly there's just less.
Well,
less
that's
spots.
good. At least Nietzsche's is still there. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
And actually, I just covered a show yesterday where talking about the Bray Miller market. So the city had a downtown grocery store that they ended up closing, and now they want to turn it into police headquarters. And I think that kind of perfectly encapsulates what the city of Buffalo currently is, which is kind of a decaying ghost town. But there's always more space for a new police precinct.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah.
But so I think, do you want to maybe preview for our viewers? I don't know. What can they expect if they watch for the next 55 minutes? I know I hear from John.
I don't know. I feel like it's such a long time. I'm just like, wow, I have to talk for an hour.
Yeah.
Am I going to be able to do that?
Tell us about your.
I hear you're a computer programmer, music.
Yeah.
I don't, yeah.
No, I'm not a programmer.
Okay.
I'm not a programmer, but I do digital design, and I do computer art,
Yeah.
and computer music.
Yeah. And you combine them all together. And,
I think I did meet you briefly at the Infringement Festival when you were performing in one of the silos. I want to say.
yeah.
Yes, that's right. Mhm.
What
Yeah,
programs
I did that 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
That was a good spot.
Yeah. What is your? I guess yeah. I think when we think of artists, we think of painters that use paint. But it sounds like you're kind of a digital artist. What are some of your maybe, I don't know, materials that you use? Like when you say digital music and digital art, what kind of programs or what does that mean?
Well,
in your
it's
context?
video, projected video, and live music, and music that is affecting the video. So it's reactive video. The video is reacting to the guitar.
Yeah.
Okay. And you're playing the guitar?
Yeah, I'm playing the guitar into a computer,
Yeah.
into Ableton Live, and doing live sequencing and playing guitar live, improvising, and I've created a system where the video reacts to the guitar. So notes are assigned to video clips, and when I play the guitar, the video reacts in a program called VDMX.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Interesting. It's almost like you're programming some sort of psychedelic
Yeah.
dream.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, in a way, like it would be great to just show you a bit of it.
I think I have.
Could you?
I mean,
Or-
just to see what we're talking about. Like, are people listening to this primarily, or are they
I
tuning
hope
in
so.
and seeing it?
yeah.
I think there's
is
a
it-
combination of people watching it live and also people, rewatching it.
Yeah. And some
later.
people, will.
But
like,
people will see us. Like, people are not just going to hear the audio
Yeah.
anywhere,
and
See if
well,
or will they?
it'll be on YouTube. We could.
Yeah. Yeah. What,
Oh, so they will. They would see.
I can pull up your. What should I look up something on YouTube?
Well, if you go to Vimeo, you can see. Yeah, I have stuff on YouTube and Vimeo.
YouTube, Jeremy. What's the last
Jeremy D. Slater.
These are. Okay.
Oh. Inside Outside 10 by Jeremy D. Slater. Oh. here's
Oh
your-
well, that's a piece I did at a residency in Korea.
Yeah. Now
Whoa.
you've been all over the place too.
But if we could go first, we can come back to this. But can you go to Vimeo first,
yeah.
and I can show you. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's an old video piece.
Look, 17 years. I didn't even realize they made YouTube videos that old. So you're really you're on the cutting edge, the avant-garde.
So
Yeah,
I have a couple of different. So that was Vimeo, or was that was YouTube, right?
This
where
is
you just
YouTube.
were a second ago.
Yeah.
It's so small on my screen because I'm looking at this on my phone and it's super small. Okay. Yeah, this is an old video piece. I mean, there's sound too.
Yeah. Oh, you can't hear it?
I
no.
can hear it.
I can hear it. I wonder if the guests can.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Sounds nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Okay, got Jeremy D. Slater on Vimeo.
Vimeo, yeah.
Interesting.
Okay, so if you go down to, keep going down a little bit. Yeah, we can go through some of these. Scroll down a little bit more. Right there, the one, go up a little bit, go up 2. It's called no, let's see, what is it called? Up one more.
Oh, Vertigo?
No, it's called that one with the 2 screens on the left. You were just there.
Oh, I think.
Below that,
Project X.
that.
Oh,
No, that's not it. That's not it.
Okay, I think you're watching
There. It's this one, yeah, the one that has the 2 screens.
Yep. I think you're seeing us in a little bit of a lag since we're not.
I am. Okay.
That. Oh, okay.
Is it playing?
I just hit the play button.
Okay,
It's
there.
Project X, live performance and Odetta Gallery. Whoa.
Okay. Yeah, so I was invited by this sculptor to project on his sculpture called Project X. And it was like this huge X that he made.
Yeah.
And so it had 4 different projection surfaces.
So that's the one corner of the X.
So here I'm playing the guitar, and the video's reacting to the guitar as I'm playing it live.
Yeah.
Now, when you're playing, are you thinking what the video is going to do to trigger the video, or is it
No,
purely?
not really. It's a lot. It's really kind of randomizes. There's maybe like 3 clips that play depending on which note. So it could be. So really, it's hard to predict how it's going to react.
Now, the video clips, is this something you load before your shows with clips you want it to go?
Yeah,
through?
these are all things that I shot over the years. So I have a huge bank of clips of things that I shot. And a lot of it is so that's a little excerpt of that
Interesting.
performance. That was the first time I did it, and I collaborated with this video artist, VJ Dr. Mojo,
Yeah.
Mark Johnson. and he helped me put that together and helped me program that whole thing with the videos reacting to the guitar. So, when I played notes on the guitar, I went up and down the frets, and he assigned, videos to each note. And then that was the first performance. And he helped me with the projection mapping on the sculpture.
That's cool.
And so that was the beginning of this piece this system that I called parentheses instrument.
Yeah.
And it's gone through many iterations, and I still use this basic setup and perform with this. And this is what you probably saw, or you saw a version of this in the silos. I was doing the same thing. I was using that system, playing the guitar, and the videos reacting and being projected. We had I had a few different projections going on, or I think two. One was going up into the silo itself, and there was another projection that was on the wall.
Wow.
And yeah, so it's reactive ambient video, and so so really every performance is different, and it's really hard to predict
Oh, wow.
how it's going to react when I play.
I was gonna say, what does practice look for something like this? What does that mean? Do you just sit down and just kind of?
Oh, this is another piece that I did.
Ooh, I like
Looking
that.
at this was in a church in Greenpoint, Brooklyn,
Yeah.
and they would have these shows, and people would project in the church, and there'd be a live performance. In this case, the video was already prepared. It was just this water footage that I had that was overlaying, or that had many different layers, and I was playing. It was a duo I did with this artist Lauren Sky,
Yeah.
and you can hear this, right? I can't hear anything
I
because
can't hear
the
it.
volume's down.
I muted it.
Yeah.
Just
Oh yeah. So like,
Okay.
like while you're in your
Yeah,
daily
because
life,
sound's a pretty important part of it.
yeah, like you sample different random things, like in your daily life, like if you see something or hear something.
Yeah, I mean, I shoot a lot of stuff on my iPhone.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
So I just look at different things. A lot of water.
Yeah.
Just whatever strikes me as interesting, and I shoot it in a way that's makes it abstract.
Yeah. Well, now
And I think
you've been all over. You've been in Germany. Haven't you been in Europe and in Korea?
I did a residency in Korea.
Oh, great. Yeah.
I've done performances in Japan,
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Germany,
That's good.
England, France, Italy.
Ooh. Oh, which place did you like the most?
Oh, I mean, I love Japan. I loved being in Japan and Korea, for that matter. But
Yeah.
both of those places were really interesting. So different.
Hey, is there a scene for this? Is there something where like little pockets?
Oh, there is. There is.
Where
Yeah.
where like the meccas of
Yeah.
of this type of performance?
So,
New York. Yeah, I mean, all those cities really. Like any of the big cities. I think there's even kind of a scene in Buffalo too
oh, wow.
of people doing
Yeah.
projected video art and music.
And yeah, you could get, like you said, you were invited to other art things to add to it, like
And that's where I really found my inspiration to do it in the first place, was living in Buffalo, and I think I first saw video art on public access television, and there was work that people were doing, media studies students were doing at UB, and there was a show of their work that was on public access, and I think I saw that and found it interesting. And there were people like Tony Conrad was part of the scene too, and I'm sure he was included in that. And then I found out that there were Tony Conrad taught at UB, and so did Paul Sherritt's, another structuralist filmmaker, was at UB. And so I became aware of experimental film, like structuralist film, like Tony Conrad, the Flickr films, and of both Conrad and Sherritt's, and and I found out that I could. Well, I took a class at UB and learned how to edit video,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
and in the media studies department, and there was a place called, or this place, it still exists, I think, Squeaky Wheel.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Is it still
Squeaky
there?
Wheel.
Yeah. So it was Squeaky Wheel, aka Buffalo Media Resources, and it was a place where you could rent video equipment, cameras, and editing time. So, you could
Yeah, make.
rent time to edit the video that you shot with the equipment that you were renting from them.
Yeah.
You could rent recording equipment too. They had 4-track recorders, so I rented a 4-track from them and did multi-track recording. And the cameras they had at the time were these really the first video cameras. They were called Portapacks.
Ah.
So it had like a separate sort of VCR thing that you would have in a backpack,
Yeah.
and the camera was separate from that.
Oh, were those like the huge things?
Yes.
Yeah, I
so these
remember.
very old video
Yeah.
VHS cameras, and
Yeah.
everything was VHS, and
Yeah.
so I started renting that equipment and creating work, and they had monthly work in progress meetings at Squeaky Wheel, where people would show their work.
Oh,
And
yeah.
do you want to? There's more videos you can watch.
Okay. Well, I think
Did
But
you-
that,
yeah.
Yeah.
You've done stuff like with dancers and stuff too, haven't you?
yeah, if you go to that YouTube clip, you could see that a piece I did with dancers in Korea.
Oh, it's Annette. One day at a time is saying hi. One of our
loyal viewers.
A loyal viewer.
I was wondering, is somebody in the scene? I mean, it seems like we're in a moment now where AI obviously is very popular with the generating art. But where's your perspective on where is this all headed? This kind of AI technology art scene, right? Like you're making a type of
Oh, I don't know.
you're making a type of
I'm not-
art that Leonardo da Vinci.
I'm not
could
really
only-
into AI work. I think it has like a very distinct look. I'm not really crazy about it, to be honest.
That's all right. That's a valid perspective, I think.
But I think it is the way, things are heading in that direction. That video right there is the one that I wanted to show you with the dancers. It was the one from Korea. Yeah, this one. Yeah, so I did a residency in Seoul, Korea at Seoul Art Space,
Whoa.
and they gave me a studio and a place to live, or a room at the art center.
That's
And,
fantastic, yeah.
And I created this piece and worked with local artists, dancers. So most of these dancers are Korean.
Yeah.
And you can see us in the background there, performing the music live with this group. And I don't know is the sound still muted?
I just have it on lightly so we can hear you.
Oh yeah. So what's happening is this is an interactive piece. So there are switches on the stage so that when the dancers move on stage, the sound and the video react. So do you know the game Dance Dance Revolution?
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I got these dance pads, and that's what's underneath this stage. There's like 4 sets of
That's a good idea.
dance pads that underneath it, and then I put canvas over top of it and created this stage with a monitor in the middle, and there's a projection above. And so these pads were triggering sound, and in turn the video. So the video is reacting to the sound as well here via the dancers, interacting with on the stage, or whatever they're moving on the stage is triggering piano notes, and
Whoa.
everyone is reacting to that sound.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's intense.
It's
Whoa.
edgy.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Real like.
This is like
So so it was mostly Korean people. Like most of the dancers were Korean. There was there was a choreographer who was Japanese who was assisting me with this, and another now Sakamoto was playing music with me. He flew in from Tokyo to be part of this piece.
Oh, that's fun. Yeah.
And Makoto Mitsushima was the Japanese dancer who kind of really, this was kind of another free improvisation piece where everything was improvised, but I'm really into that idea of just using just doing everything as free improvisation, but he really kind of gave it some structure with the dancers. I mean, there were like 8 dancers, I think. And so he was kind of responsible for giving it a little bit of organization, like so that not everyone was performing at the same time. And he kind of directed them a little bit, even though everything was still improvised. And, this was at the opening of the piece. And I don't know, so we performed like at least 2 hours, maybe 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah. Oh.
Interesting.
During the opening. And then during the run of the show, this piece was just open to the public. And so people could the public could walk up and onto the stage and interact with it as well.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And so there was one point where this tour came through with all these school kids, and they were going crazy on the piece, and they were like jumping up and down on it and really trying to break it.
Really? Oh, that's funny. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so this is another piece I did with dancers.
Yeah.
This is a very short excerpt of a piece I did with water and dancers, and the reverberation of the sound from the speakers was making the water react. So there's like bowls of water on top of the speakers. There was a projection or a monitor in the middle, and there were these like switches that would react to the dancers' movements. So another interactive piece.
Interesting.
Let's see. Yeah, so there's a bunch of videos. So Jeremy D. Slater on YouTube and Vimeo's where you can find this work. What is that one?
Oh, that's neat.
Okay, this is another short piece that I did with, footage that I shot in Japan. And, the sound of cicadas. So there's an image of a cicada and the sound waves. It's just a layered, short, video piece. So I make, pieces that stand alone as, pieces of video art, but then a lot of times I'll be projecting and working in an environment like you saw at the silos where I'm projecting onto a surface and there in space live like I was with the dancers in Korea. Yeah. So I like to do things live a lot. And a lot of everything I generate is really generated through improvisation.
I want to expand a little on improvisation. How do you think of improvisation in your performances, and how do you kind of get better at improvising? Because I guess as someone...
Well,
I guess
yeah,
when I think of inspiration, I think of it as kind of unstructured, but I know there is a lot of structure to actual improvisation.
I mean, there can be. Like, with free improvisation, there's really no structure. Like, it's really just free. Things are happening, and it's free, and there's no structure. Sometimes musicians will decide on a structure. I mean, in a way, the piece with the dancers was a bit structured because the Japanese choreographer was working with the dancers to create some structure. But with the musicians, I didn't really give them any direction. But with free improvisation, it's about listening to the other players and reacting to what they're doing, and maybe not always playing and not always making a sound when you're playing with other people. It's just kind of listening and it's a conversation between the musicians. So people are playing and listening to each other. And I think maybe my first exposure to improvisation was going to see jazz at the Anchor Bar. When I was I was in this band in Buffalo. My first band used to we used to rehearse, and on Sunday nights we would go to watch jazz at the Anchor Bar every Sunday. It was like every Sunday night after rehearsal,
Cool. Oh.
I think, and I think that was my first exposure. But that's very structured improvisation. Like they're playing maybe a standard, but they go into solos. Like each player has their time to do a solo.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but that's more structured improvisation. But I didn't really discover free improvisation until I came to New York. And again, it was kind of in the jazz scene, or what is known as free jazz, where people will just get together, jazz musicians will just together and play.
Yeah.
And there's no plan really. They just react to each other in real time. And again, it's like a conversation between the players. And that's something I really kind of fell in love with. And it's part of most of my projects. I have a music group called Plan 23. And we never really have a discussion about what we're going to play. We just feel each other and listen to each other. And it all just happens in real time, you know? And yeah, I do that with my own music, my solo project, Parentheses. I just improvise. It's free improvisation. Sometimes I work with other musicians. I have another project that's called Frogwell.
Oh, that's great.
Which is a funny name. It's a combination of names.
Frogwell.
Interesting.
Yes.
Sounds like Harry Potter's enemy. Frogwell.
Right. No, it was actually a combination of two names. I wanted to call the band Froggy after Froggy from Little Rascals.
Oh, okay. Yeah. He was a likable guy. Yeah.
And I mean, I was really into the Little Rascals when I was a kid. I thought they were so creative. They'd always do these creative things.
They were hilarious. Yeah.
And they were hilarious. And another band member wanted to call the band Rothwell, or they were called Rothwell, I think, when I first started collaborating with them. But then we combined the two names into Frogwell.
Yeah.
And as it turns out, there is a place in Scotland, a town in Scotland called Frogwell, and we were really surprised.
Oh, okay.
And our friend Dan, this English guy Dan Jones, said he lived there when he was a kid.
Ah.
And we asked him what it was like there, and he's like, "Oh, it was cold and miserable," you know.
Ah. Was it named after a frog?
I don't know what the origin of that name was, but probably.
Yeah, something like that.
But anyway, what I was saying was that working with them, they like to work with scores. So like, not your traditional score with like written Western notation, but scores that are visual. Like it would have maybe like a diagram of like what each player is doing, or a conceptual idea, like some text to, guide the players. So that's an improvisation situation that is more structured, where there is kind of a score. And sometimes the scores were very specific. Like we did a piece that was based on the paintings of Bob Ross. And have you ever seen that show, The Joy of Painting with Bob Ross, I think it's called?
Yeah.
Yeah, so one of our members, Robert Hardin, created a score, a very meticulous score based on, we all had brushes and canvases, and we were like, and there was a very specific score. We would make sound on the canvases with the brushes or the palette knives. And and there was just, so it was it was a score, but it was like, at this time, like you do 3 strokes on the canvas with a palette knife,
Yeah.
It's interesting because I know I'm part of the Gamelan group here in Buffalo, and their whole music notation is just numbers. So they have like a kind of a 1 to 5 or a 1 to 7 scale, and all their music is in pure numbers. So I think it's interesting. Even Western music notation is not perfect, right? It's just kind of like where you're trying to notate something or communicate something that's right? How do you notate a free jazz performance? Like you can try your best, but really you're dealing with something that's not. Yeah, it's modeling reality.
Well,
It's
maybe
not-
you
yeah.
could after the fact. I mean, sometimes people just give like the players like a visual, like a visual cue. Like, okay, here you're this red line, you know, and like the bass player is the red line, and like the guitar player is this an orange line, and there's like a maybe a visual representation of what the music should, the arc it should take, So that's sort of another.
I think I've seen
That's
some things or some reporting of like certain frequencies represent certain colors. Like I don't know if that's someone said that from an acid trip, but I know there's some theories that maybe, yeah, like the whole
Well, I
idea
think
that-
it's synesthesia, where
I've
people
heard
who can see colors when they hear sounds. It's known as synesthesia.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, even sound. I mean, music itself really is kind of like emotion. It just represents emotion somehow, but it's weird because it's just like we all know what a sad song is when we hear it.
Yeah,
but it's
yeah.
not. It's just sound. So how does the sound? How is that tied to emotion? It's kind of an interesting thing to think about because right, math is. I mean, even sound is just sound waves, which is a physical thing, but yet human creativity can be influenced.
Yeah,
It's kind of
but
very.
But it is weird how noises can get emotions, and like, is that within like?
Yeah, how
it's
does
within
that?
the human?
I think and
like-
music is really and sound is really right. If we were just cavemen back in the day, we couldn't write or anything. Really, your whole history was tied to songs that you would learn around a campfire and pass down to generation to generation. So, actually, music and sound is, I think, embedded in us in a way that we don't even really appreciate in the
Yeah,
modern.
I've heard
times.
the theory too is that humans would sing, and would sing all the time. They would sing to communicate. They would like they were constantly doing
Right.
that.
Or play with the drums, maybe.
Yeah.
Like drum patterns.
Yeah.
Would be.
I think I read a book about African music, and there's actually like a mathematical kind of pattern underlying African music. So they kind of have like asymmetrical timeline patterns. So like 7 beats over 12 or 9 over 16, and it kind of keeps radiate outward. I wish I had an image of it, but it's interesting that the idea that like math is in music and vice versa.
Yeah, so that's really interesting that you're with the Gamelan Orchestra.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which I got to plug them, but they're starting free community classes
Yeah, I'm
starting
wearing
Sunday.
their shirt.
Well, yeah, I know somebody. I know a member of that of them.
Yeah, we know. Yeah,
Risa.
Yeah,
Avanti
We
plays with them,
Shout out to Risa and
and John. Well, who else plays with them?
there's Risa. There's Ari.
Al Griffin plays with them, I think,
Maria?
now too.
I think.
Right?
Was Griffin the African dancer or drummer?
No, Al Griffin
I don't know.
and Tim Sager used to be part of that.
There's
Yeah,
Luna.
A while ago.
it's an interesting thing, and I'm glad Buffalo has like
Yeah.
a pretty
That's
thriving
amazing. Yeah, I would like
gamelan
to.
scene.
I would love to be part of that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if there's something like that in New York.
Well, it's very.
I haven't.
You kind
I
of.
haven't really encountered that, but I would. If I was in Buffalo, I would definitely.
You need
take
like
advantage of
the
that.
instruments. And we're lucky we have actually the part of the gamelan course. I've signed up. So I'm taking the Javanese gamelan. There's actually different types of gamelan, but there's actually a visiting teacher from.
Oh, so you're
from
taking
Jav-
courses? Are you part of the ensemble?
I took
Yeah,
some
or you
classes
will.
last year and then participated a bit, and it's been about a couple months or a year since I participated, so I'm kind of getting back in the swing.
Cool.
But yeah, I think even that is just very interesting. The whole idea that their whole theory of music is completely different. So you almost have to like unlearn,
Yeah.
what you've kind of learned. And the weird thing that's kind of I mean, Western music, a lot of it is based on 4/4 time. So I don't know why 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 like why. And then in gamelan too, a lot of their music is notes just in patterns of 4. So kind of 4 is almost like a bar. So it's weird that I've kind of thought that 4 is almost like the most musical number in a way because why are these two musicals that are completely unrelated? How are they both? They both kind of came to the realization that 4 is a very musical number, and then even the African music, right? Their whole like asymmetrical pattern is all based on it has its rhythm because it uses a lot of odd numbers. So,
Right.
so there's something about even numbers wanting to resolve, and I don't know. It's something.
Well, it's something that people can connect to, like 4 on the floor, like beat, like that beat is very like I guess it's like a house beat is very something that people can connect to, like people who are dancing can easily connect to.
Yeah. Or even I know a lot of like pop songs just kind of use the same chord progressions. So even in Western
Right.
music, they have the difference between like the root or the 1 and the 5. Why does that sound good to Western ears? Is kind of a an odd phenomena. So yeah, do you have any musical theories or musical styles that you like influenced you to generate your improvisational? Is it jazz chord progressions? Is it I don't know.
No, I mean, as I said, like really free improvisation is where I'm at, kind of throwing all the rules out the window
yeah, so you just
and
kinda,
just sort of playing by intuition or playing, listening to other people and playing that way, reacting that way, and not really having a structure.
so yeah,
But I mean, I started with structure. My first band was, a band like a post-punk band, and it was all very structured music.
don't they say
Verse, chorus,
don't they say 3 chords and the
bridge.
truth?
Kind of project structure. And so every time we played it, we wanted it to be the same structure, so we all knew what was happening. But yeah, I mean, I do work with this another composer, Patrick Grant, who has this guitar ensemble, and all his music is sheet music. It's written with Western notation, and but since I don't read new music, I can read tablature, and so that's what I need in order to read that music for myself. But yeah, so sometimes I do work in a structured environment, and I appreciate that. But with everything I'm doing, I kind of want to just not have any structure and have, just really be free, improvise in a free manner.
Yeah.
And there's a whole tradition of that in New York. There's a whole scene here of free improvisers who are doing the same thing,
I know
And some of them play jazz, some of them play noise.
Yeah.
I like that. They play noise.
Yeah. Is there
Yeah,
kind of
well, noise is
camaraderie?
a genre of music.
That's cool. I think yeah,
Yeah.
somehow it's weird that we're in this moment with the internet where we have access to all the music in the world, but somehow like Taylor Swift has a
Yeah.
monopoly on the top 20. So
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
the internet, it's
Right.
it's and I think we just had this legacy where if you were musical performers, right, and I know just in the blues specifically, there's lots of like renowned performers that just performed in some tin alley that nobody knew about because back in the day, in order to get a record deal, you had to go, get the approval, of some record label. Whereas now with the internet, you can just record yourself.
Yeah.
And if you,
Yeah,
if there's 3
it's
people
true.
in the world.
Yeah,
that-
everyone has the power to release an album themselves. Yeah, but the problem with being a musician these days is all the streaming sites are really taking advantage of artists and not paying them anything really. Like they're like Spotify, for example, like they just take people's albums and they'll pay like a fraction of a cent per stream.
Oh, geez. That's
And in fact, they don't even pay. Like Spotify has a new policy where they won't even pay an artist unless they reach a certain threshold of streams. So they're paying some artists zero. You know,
That's interesting. Spotify is almost the new record label. Like you don't need their
Right.
permission to access, but you need their permission to monetize or realize the fruits of your.
but even I mean, I think even from I think our artists usually make their money playing live or doing tours. That's how they make their money mostly.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you're selling a huge amount of records like Taylor Swift or an artist like
That's
like
why-
that who is selling huge amounts of units, and you're getting paid. You're making good money. Then
Is there anybody?
most artists have to tour to make their money.
Is there anybody
know.
you're listening to right now that you're into, like any band or any group or singer that you're like?
I don't know. I mean, I'm into a lot of different kinds of music. I mean, it's hard to. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
You're putting me on the spot.
Oh, sorry. Okay, yeah, yeah.
Let me think about that for a sec.
I think it's interesting though that there's something about music, right? You can record a music, but there's something about I don't know if it's the primal or the tribal experience of actually being with other people and experiencing music in real time is much different than, right, buying a CD and listening to kind of the post-produced track. And I know even a lot of music, one of my big complaints is, right, with the auto tuning, and it seems like everyone's going towards computerized perfect music where every beat is exactly on the beat versus a lot of music, it seems like the good music is because of its imperfections, because of the things that you can't just automate.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's a problem with AI too. Is that AI music is really like human emotion can't be replicated by AI. You know, and like AI will never be able to really write a proper song. I mean, it can imitate other people's songs given the input, like given input. It can do like a pretty reasonable facsimile of a song, but it can never really have the emotion of a person, and like the imperfection of somebody playing an instrument live. It's like there's something, like that human element of somebody playing drums, and maybe it's like it shifts slightly with the tempo or something, and it's a human being is playing that beat. I'm not opposed to using machines either. Like, sometimes it's kind of going against what I just said, but I mean, technology can be used. I mean, a guitar is technology,
Yeah. Well, I know, like, I'm a big Bob Dylan fan. I know just based on the history, he was like this acclaimed folk singer. And the first time he plugged in an electrical guitar, like all his diehard fans, like instantly turned on him. And
that's
so
right.
It's just interesting how anytime you kind of push any sort of boundary, you're always, going to upset someone. So I think, but Bob Dylan didn't care, which I think is the great part about being an artist, right?
Yeah.
You don't do it for an audience. You do it because it's something inside of you that you have to express.
Right. And when people started using synthesizers, or when synthesizers first came out, and the whole people started making music with synthesizers like Kraftwerk, and so many English groups were influenced by Kraftwerk to make music with synthesizers. It was like the new punk instrument, and nobody really knew how to play it properly. They would just buy these synthesizers. Let's make a band and let's make something of it. And so much good music came out of that. And it was a new technology that people didn't embrace right away. But
yeah, who knows what they'll make with AI? I mean, people, using it, chopping it up, and
I know I had played around a little bit with a medium called live coding, which essentially you can use computer code to like trigger samples, which is kind of AI, but at the same time also kind of using a machine. I think that was pretty interesting for me. It's still something I'm interested in.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could use AI as a tool to to help you along with the process, maybe. But I think still, it can never really replace a human creating a song or coming up with an idea or conveying an emotion,
Yeah. And I know Bob Dylan, too, bring it back to him. I know he said some of his songs just came to him. I know a lot of artists have that kind of, I know there's a book that called it like the muse. There's actually some, a lot of artists talk about their music doesn't come from them. It comes from somewhere else and is expressed through them.
Right. You kind of tap into something, some sort of energy or
what do you think that's
universality.
about?
I think there's truth to that. I mean, I feel like sometimes when I play, I really kind of forget about the rules, and I'm kind of tuning into something or tapping into some energy or something, or the universe or something,
Yeah.
And with Plan 23, we often talk about how the three of us will be playing, and sometimes it'll be hard to tell who's doing what,
that's fun.
And you kind of lose track of like am I playing this, or is that Doc or Wolfgang playing this, and you kind of get into this moment where you're just kind of tapping into some energy or flow.
That's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Do you ever dream that you're making music or making?
Sometimes, yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Sometimes I do. Sometimes I'll think about something and then try to remember it when I wake up, or I'll think about an idea of some. Yeah.
Do you have any methods or like ways that you get yourself maybe into that flow state, whether it's practicing or trying to prime, the muse to give you a musical idea, or do you have any especially when a medium where you're
Well,
so.
it depends. It depends on who I'm playing with. I mean, I can get into that state by myself, but when I play with other people, that helps. Tuning into other people's energy, or like listening to other people and what they're doing, and kind of reacting to that.
I guess, yeah, how do you practice that?
Yeah, but it's hard to just turn it off. Yeah, you can't really just turn it on and off. I think it's kind of, but I don't know. When I play, I do lose track of time.
Yeah.
And if I'm in that state, like I lose track of time.
Cool.
So you're almost like
And I
time
get
traveling
lost.
in a way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
being transported.
Yeah.
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 Do you feel that when you're playing gamelan too? Do you feel like that sort of like you're being transported or
I
into
think it's
being put into some meditative state?
kind of. I think when you're in a gamelan, you're performing with everybody, and there's music, so you're kind of very in tune with. You can't really think about yourself. You're more so focused on the music and integrating with everyone that that it is kind of, and some of the melodies are they're nice. I think it is kind of a, I don't know, out of body, but I think gamelan too it's a lot about. I think even when they do gamelan, there's no like stage where there's the performer. It's like everybody's on the same level. The performer's on the same level with the audience. So it is. I think it's in the culture about kind of a communal experience. It's not. There's no like gamelan rock star that gets up on a stage by themselves and then performs in front of or above everybody else. It's kind of.
Well, I know this guy who made a gamelan instrument that he programs it to play, but it plays by itself. It's called the Gamelatron.
Interesting.
That's cool.
Aaron Kuffner, and he created this instrument with the assistance of this guy Eric Singer, and he created this great instrument that he programs. With he writes the music, but the gamelan will play by itself.
Interesting.
That sounds really cool.
Because all the gamelan music is just numbers, so I kind of even thought about too. So you could technically, and essentially the gamelan, you're really just performing a pre-recorded, pre-programmed. And I'm just a beginner, so I know there's probably levels to the improvisation, but there's notes that you play, and everybody plays them together. But there's.
I would like to see a non-electronic machine like that, like a steampunk kind of Rube Goldberg kind of contraption that did gamelan music, like some complex, like where that would like ding dong, ding,
that hits all.
You should check out the Gamelatron. It is kind of like that.
Is? Oh, okay.
Yeah. But it doesn't play on its own. Like he has to make it happen. But I know you're thinking of something that just has sort of an intelligence of its own that's playing by itself.
Like
with AI.
Yeah.
That would be possible.
Yeah.
I know one thing I'm inspired to do is to try to. I mean, I'm a self-identified singer-songwriter, but how can I, as my own machine, make as much noise in a musical way as possible? So whether that's, I'm singing while I'm playing a guitar, while I have a harmonica strapped around my neck, while I have some sort of thing like a tambourine on my foot. So like, because I think coming back to Bob Dylan, I saw his performance at the Newport Folk Festival in '62, and it's just like crazy. It's just one guy, harmonica, and his own recording. And it's just like I didn't realize so much music could come from one person.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Yeah.
And how do you have how do you have like any tips or like finding music that speaks to you? It seems like you found a medium and a mode of expression that you identify with.
Well, just whatever you like. It's really up to you as a listener, and some people like so many different types of music. So it's whatever. Just follow your heart.
Yeah, there's that Zen guy on YouTube. What's his name? Rick Rubin. He's that music producer, and he's very Zen. And he just he talks about how we've all listened to thousands of hours of music, and we just we know what we like and we know what we don't like, and if you just kind of follow your own intuitive, I like that, you just keep doing that. You do it enough times, and eventually you made something you're proud of, and if you like it, there chances are someone else or there's an audience that will also.
Yeah, I mean, some people. I mean, I like free jazz and I like free improvisation. I like to listen to it. I like to play it, but it's not everybody's cup of tea. Like some people really think that it's
Like
you know,
highbrow kind of.
or they don't think of it as music, or they think that okay, well, maybe it's just noise, or maybe it's unstructured, and so it doesn't really,
I know.
in their minds, it's not really
but
musical. Or
it's
but
kind
for
of
me,
for free, yeah.
I found that's sort of my thing, and I found that there's others who are into this similar thing. So I found a community for it.
Yeah, that's cool.
But I think any type of music that you're into, there's going to be a community for it. Um, I hope.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
wait, how would you what would you call your music? Is it ambient? Is it
Computer jazz.
computer jazz? Like, is
That's
it
interesting.
like tech?
No, I hadn't thought of that. No, I wouldn't say
Tech
it's
nature.
jazz even. I used to say ambient noise.
Ambient noise.
Ambient noise.
Yeah. It's definitely coming from a tradition of ambient music, like Brian Eno, is an influence of mine.
But it really sets a good mood. I like the mood you set, like with your.
Oh, thanks. Yeah.
Yeah, I think your performance at the Silos, I feel like the Silos is like a great, and I'm a really big fan of the Infringement, but that venue where you're just walking through abandoned silos and each silo has its own complete different universe of things.
Yeah, that was a great thing. I mean, I think that whole era is over now that they've moved the festival away from that. But I think there is one silo in Silo City where I think Squeaky Wheel or Hollows invites artists to do performances there, right? I think the
Yeah.
Gamelan Ensemble performed in one of the silos at one time
Yeah, that'd be cool.
several years ago.
I would
but
like to hear of her.
it would like to, yeah, it would be nice to have that opportunity again.
Yeah, and I think I know I performed there, and then they ended up demoing the old Great Northern silo across the street. And I know that the beer.
Oh, did you play? You played in the silo too?
No,
with
I was
them?
just at the Music is Art festival.
Oh, right.
I did.
Oh, yeah. They played at that. Yeah, they were in the front of that little section of silos.
Yeah.
A couple of times when I was there,
Yeah.
that was great. But yeah, it was great to see to have like different things happening, and it was nice to have like that my own little area to do things. The first time I did it, the first couple of times I did it, I was by myself. But the last couple of times I worked with Rory McCormick,
Oh, Rory.
the saxophone player.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we were improvising together. Like he was playing saxophone and I was playing
Shout out to Rory.
guitar. Yeah.
I like him.
It was great. And the last time I did it, it was Rory and my friend Chris Borkowski. He's also a video artist, musician. And so the three of us did a collaboration. Yeah. That was great. Yeah, it was great to have a space like that to work in. So industrial and so raw.
I found it ironic because they ended up demolishing the Great Northern Silo across the street because the planners were like, well, we don't know what to do with it. And I was like, well,
really?
No one knew what to do with this silo before,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You had a music festival in there. So it's like almost like if you have a space like that, you need to kind of.
Yeah, maybe, who knows? Like maybe they won't. Because I think what's happening in the silos when people aren't doing installations in there, they're just sort of vacant spaces, right?
Yeah.
Do they regularly do shows in there?
Yeah.
Not really. It's kind of, I think it's an insurance liability.
I met the guy who was a caretaker for those silos.
Yeah.
Swatty Jim.
I know. My question is, yes, Swanee Jim.
Well, one thing.
No, go ahead.
Oh, one thing I really liked about them was the reverberation.
Yeah.
The way the sound would travel through that, through the top of the silo and create this echo, this reverberation.
Yeah.
It was beautiful. It was nice to work in that space.
What do you see as like the role of the artist or the musician, especially in the modern era where we're in this industrial era where everything's being automated, right? We have planners that demolish buildings because they don't know what to do with the silo versus like an artist could think of 1,000 different things to do things. So what's kind of the role of an artist in the modern era?
Yeah, I think artists can transform spaces, and they can transport people with sound, with art, with visual art. Enlighten and inspire people. I mean, where would we be without artists? I think the world would be a pretty dismal place without art and music.
Yeah.
And especially now,
Yeah.
I kind of vowed at the beginning of this, at the beginning of this administration, just sort of really lose myself in music and art and really kind of focus on that more than anything. That's something I can control. That's a world that I can create that takes me out of reality in a way, and it transports me. I mean, not that I'm burying my head in the sand. I'm very aware of everything that's happening, but it is something that I can do to just make a vow to myself to focus on those things.
Yeah.
And it brings me to a higher place,
Yeah.
and it transports me. And I think it has the ability to take other people out of reality, or enlighten people, or, teach people, or change people, or,
I'm optimistic. I think there's something too about whether it's oppression or just, it's not the rich people that have all the time on the hair in the world that make great art. It's mostly the people that are struggling either with oppression or with some sort of difficulty, and it's that struggle that somehow seems to transform.
Yeah, I think it
into
also
great art.
inspires people. I think great art is created during times of oppression,
Yeah.
in spite of what's happening. And so it becomes like a political act in itself just to create work, or to continue to be an artist. And when, it's not most, I guess many people would just be happy if artists didn't exist at all, but I don't think people would be happy if there wasn't music in the world.
Yeah.
Or if there wasn't if musicians just stopped.
We would be
It's not going to happen. I mean, or if artists just stop creating, I don't think that's never going to happen.
We'd be a sadder, more miserable species of ape than if we didn't do that. We'd just be like,
I think the optimistic view is that AI will liberate us from all the menial, redundant tasks and allow us to all be artists 24/7.
That's what I want.
Ultimate abundance.
I want that. I want little.
I think I'm optimistic too, because human beings aren't meant to work in cubicles and do the same routine tasks. Computers are much better at that. Human beings should use their own creativity. And I think that's, like you said, computers won't be able to feel emotion or really be truly creative. So that maybe if there's some sort of partnership to be had where we work together.
Yeah, I think of it as another tool to be used, to be utilized. And, as an artist, I haven't really used it myself, but I think it can be useful.
Yeah. Well,
it's a tool to tap into.
Well, we appreciate you having you on, Jeremy. We got 30 seconds here. So do you have any parting thoughts of wisdom for our audience before we...
Well, I'm really surprised that the time went so fast. I was really thinking an hour, this is going to be a lot of time to fill. But I'm really happy to be here. Grateful that you invited me to be on here. And it's been really interesting talking to you. Yeah. And I feel like it was just the beginning of a really great conversation that we can continue.
We gotta talk more.
And I hope that it has inspired people. I don't know how many, if you can get an idea of how many people tune in to this, but
Well, so
if
kind of scattered.
I hope it inspired somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm hoping this is the first of many great conversations to come.
Yeah,
so, Think Twice Radio. This is Jeremy D. Slater, and we are Smalltalk. Till next time, thanks for tuning in. And now we will fade to darkness in silence.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, Jerry. Hey, thanks for, Jerry. Yeah.